Hello and welcome to What the Tech from Boast AI, where we talk with some of the brilliant minds behind new and exciting tech initiatives to learn what it takes to tackle technological uncertainty and eventually change the world. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome Daniel Shum onto the show. Daniel is the Chief Operating Officer at CTK Bio, a Canadian cleantech startup that's researching, developing, and manufacturing solutions that combat climate change and environmental pollution. Their technology is a game changer, converting wasted byproducts into truly biodegradable and compostable goods that are designed to break down in managed and unmanaged environments. Daniel's team is very clear in their mission to ensure that in all processes where ideas meet technology, CTK Bio is not only promising success, but striving to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable products. It's a lofty mission, and Boast has been proud to partner with Daniel and the CTK Bio team. In this episode, I look forward to learning more about how Daniel got into the space, the great work the team at CTK Bio is doing, and what it's been like partnering with Boast to tap into R&D tax credits, and of course, your plans for the future. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Daniel.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Paul. Excited. I know this is many weeks in the works.
Oh, yeah, no.
Or months, actually.
I was going to say, when we heard that you were happy, we immediately wanted to get you on to talk about working with us. But I'm personally just really excited to learn about the great work you guys are doing over there, too, just because we talk to a lot of innovative startups. This is like true, very timely innovation that you guys are diving into over there. But before we dive into everything about CTK, I'd love to know more about Daniel. Tell me, how did you get into the space? How did you come to CTK Bio in the first place? And just what's life like in a day in Daniel's world?
There's a lot. I mean, for the most part, it's a lot of time management, right? Your typical corporate stuff. But really, my approach every day is, I come here, I wake up every morning with a purpose to not only one, make money, two, have fun, but three, change the world. And I really wake up to thinking about those three philosophies and principles. And then from there, I really try to create a culture in the workplace to really abide by those principles and then really tackle our mission from there. Day to day, I'm in operations. So for me, it's really, looking over the team, ensuring supply chain is there, ensuring that everything's running smoothly, making sure that we continue to grow and continue to head in the right direction while maintaining that culture. But more importantly is to really uphold the level of integrity that we stand by, and because this industry, there's just so much negative stigma around greenwashing, et cetera. It's really just trying to be on the forefront to eliminate the negative stigma and to really give awareness to the public that this is the right direction. And we're here to, clarify or answer any questions there may be in this space.
I love that you lead each day with that mission too, that you really outlined it too. I believe you said, of course, make money, but then have fun and change the world. That's very simpatico with, I think, the mission we have here at Boast, of course. And I think that's why we really enjoy partnering with folks like you, Daniel. But tell me a little bit about the work you guys do at CTK Bio and tell our listeners basically a little more detail about what that larger mission is.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, to accelerate the world to sustainable materials or products is obviously a mission. And how we do that is first, the R&D side of things. So we focus on three main technologies. One technology is the polymer synthesis, so really creating that type of material, and they're generally called biodegradable polymers. And then the second piece to that is polymer composition, where we would really look at the needs and wants of a client, and then work backwards from there to really give them a material that can allow them to make a product that they're super happy about, they're satisfied about, and so that they're willing to actually transition. And then the third piece of our technology is the polymer processing. It is really being able to make in our case, the resins, and then working with a global network of manufacturers to make the products, right? It's basically being able to provide that A to Z sustainable solution. We look at working with the clients to redefine sustainability, right? Because the term sustainability is so subjective, especially depending on where you are globally. How you define sustainability and the materials that define sustainability is again, very subjective. So we really try to work with the client to identify that, define that, and then work backwards in creating a solution that really fits their definition. And then from there, we really go into the manufacturing, which is like more of the downstream part. And the downstream part, it involves so many different layers, from supply chain to manufacturing to distribution to fulfillment, whatever that might be. We try to give the client that full A to Z solution.
I really like too how when you were talking about that kind of second product pillar, making the transition, and part of it sounds like is making the case of these companies that sustainability is the way to go. Again, like you had said, providing that A to Z solution for them to actually develop those processes and products. But correct me if I'm wrong here, but it sounds like you guys really partner with these communities and with these customers to make sure that it's something that's not just all about the sustainability benefits. It's about what they can do better as an organization. They're actually going to come up with better solutions. You're, of course, trying to change the world for the better and make something that will be more beneficial to the global environment. But you also want these companies to succeed. And it's about really partnering for their own success, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I think, and I'm not going to lie, I think that was a bit of a challenge in the beginning because we approached this in a very different way. It was all about sustainability. But really, we find that the approach that works is actually quite the opposite. Let's just create value for the customer, and in return, they transition and therefore making their model more sustainable, right? And so, really identifying how do you create the value for these clients to transition? Well, if you can come up with a solution that, one, makes sense from a cost perspective, right? Maybe they don't have to pay more, or maybe they pay less. I don't know what that might be, right? While at the same time maintain that functionality like traditional plastic, right? Yeah. And it's sustainable, sign me up for the transition, right? So really, but getting there is really challenging, right? To be able to check off all those boxes is the difficulty, and that's where our work gets put in.
Yeah, and I think that kind of speaks to what differentiates you guys in the market, but also just the challenges within the market too. You had alluded to greenwashing and how that is kind of a huge thing in your space, because a lot of companies don't put that value first. They put the sustainability front and center, thinking that that's going to be the carrot to get somebody to engage to work with us. That's not how it works. If you're not creating more value for that startup, for that manufacturer, whatever solution that they're trying to deliver ultimately, sustainability is never going to be their number one goal. They want to make money too when they go to work every day. Changing the world is one of their three, maybe, but that is not the mission that they're necessarily leading the day starting off with. So that's where you guys come in.
Yeah.
To that point, could you tell me a little bit more about just what role R&D plays in all of this? Obviously a significant one, especially from the perch that you guys take, but shine a little bit of a light on that for me.
Yeah, the R&D part of it is to really tackle those variables, right? So in order to create a product that's sustainable while maintaining that low cost, especially for low-hanging fruit items or commodity items, and having a composition that still functions like traditional plastic. And key point here, without using a polymer called PLA, that's only arguably just industrial compostable, right? To kind of like tie all those pieces together is really where all the R&D happens, right? Especially to be on the forefront. Because how I see it is, we need to be able to match the cost of plastic, of traditional plastic, or even be under that in order to disrupt this plastic industry, in order for all these large corporations to transition, therefore achieving our mission. And in order to do that, a lot of it really comes from the R&D section. And so primarily what we're working on right now is really identifying different waste streams or feedstocks where we can divert from going to the landfill. And in this case, we use a lot of hemp. So we work with partners in the private and public industry sector for cannabis. And what we actually do is retrieve that waste and divert it from going to the landfill. And we incorporate that waste stream back into our material composition. And so the idea is, well, these companies need to pay a lot of money to waste management companies to get that disposed anyways. And somebody's got to do it within the organization. So that's all expense and bandwidth too. and we can alleviate that. And then, not to mention, again, going to the landfill, we can divert that as well. So it's a win-win situation. In return, maybe we charge a small fee, or maybe we get it for free in this case. It's a win-win situation. So eventually what I think could happen is I could even start charging for this wasted feedstock, not a lot, but for a fee, right? That could help, again, for cost reduction on our end. And then to further that is we can use all different types of different waste streams. It doesn't have to be hemp. And we can actually look within an organization. Maybe within an organization, they have a lot of biomass wasted feedstock that we can incorporate. So why not kind of tie their model together as a circular model and reutilize their waste back into their own packaging? So we do some of that work as well.
But that is extremely interesting to me, Daniel. We were talking before I hit record on this about, we just came back from holiday break. I actually bought a book called Wasteland and started reading it 2 nights ago. And so this is very top of mind. I'm at the part where they're talking about outside of Delhi, just like the mountains of trash that are out there in the whole industry around being a trash picker. Again, I'm not going to go down that tangent because I still have to finish the book before I can comment intelligently about your industry. But I am so interested to hear just how many moving parts and how many different sectors that this can touch too. Down to, again, that PLA and making a plastic that can achieve the cost efficiency, well, at least a solution that can be one-to-one with plastic in terms of cost and cost effectiveness and efficiency. But even just thinking, again, you had named it, hemp, the cannabis waste, just the opportunities that you can dive in here to make better use of waste and just make sure that you're not leaving something on the table that's just going to be detritus to the entire ecosystem. So that's really, really interesting to me. And another point that you made too was about how it benefits both of you, you and your customers. That's very aligned with the work that we do here at Boast.
I agree.
Bring it back. Yeah, because part of our business model too is if we're not making sure that you're maximizing your access to that shred funding, to that R&D tax credit, we're not going to benefit from it either. We're not going to get anything in return. So I'd love to know how it was working with us on capturing shred, what your experience has been with Boast to date, and how you even heard about us to begin with.
You know what? Anyone who listens or hears this podcast, if they're not already with Boast, they need to transition. And the reason why I say that is because Boast has just been such a positive experience from the beginning to the end. And I'm not going to lie, I'll make this comment. Our first year in business, I had been referred to Boast. So I had met Eric and we hit it off, and Eric's amazing, and we had things in motion. But I'm not going to lie, I decided to choose a different company for the first year because of pricing. Okay? Needless to say, had a terrible experience with them. I'm not going to mention who. And then the second year, decided to go straight to Boast. And since there, the rest was history. Every year has been such a positive experience. And I get this feedback from my team as well, both on the finance side as well as the technical side. It's just so seamless to work with y'all. Even on the technical side, my team was extremely impressed how fast your team is able to pick up on this new language, this new technology, and almost make it your own while we're putting the reports together. Generally it could take a year, 2 years before someone even picks this up and have the level of understanding of what we're trying to do. Because at the end of the day, your team is trying to convey our message, and to be able to perfectly articulate that is really challenging. And you guys and girls have knocked it out of the park.
That is music to my ears, honestly, because I think the price point is the point that I think people get lost in, and that's frequently what we hear. And I hate that people make the ultimately pricey mistake of going with somebody other than us because they're looking at a percentage, or they're looking at, they have a tiered model over there. That's not the point of it. It's getting people who speak that vernacular, who can get into the technical nitty-gritty with you without forcing you to be doing double work, because you're teaching your shred provider what you're doing at the same time. We like being nimble. Our TSM team, I know you're familiar with some folks over there. They are geniuses. They blow me out of the water. I'm not going to try to replicate what they can do in terms of communicating to the CRA in highly technical language. concepts that the CRA will then understand. And those aren't people who necessarily speak in the language of the tech teams that are putting together this innovation. So I am very happy to hear that, Daniel.
And Paul, one thing I have to add,
Yeah.
the Quick Fund program that Boast has is, it really, I'm going to say it further differentiates, your business with other competitors. And I can tell you how many times we were able to leverage that program to work in our favor from a cash flow perspective, and it's just so helpful.
That is fantastic. And every opportunity to make sure we're arming you with that non-dilutive funding to just plug back into your innovation and make that innovation grow. That, again, it's music to my ears, but it's why we're in the business of what we do. We're founders here at Boast almost all around. That's why we speak that language so well, I think. So
and the efficiency, Paul.
Yeah.
I remember once upon a time I said to your colleague, because of cash flow reasons, I need this right now or this week. And they did it. They made it happen. And I know I gave them some aggressive timelines. So
it's awesome. And again, Daniel, it's because we really believe in what you're doing too. I mean, sure, we're nimble and effective, but we also really like our clients. So the more we can help you guys succeed, that just makes it worth coming to work every day. That hits that have fun point for us. If we're giving you cash back, that is more than fun. So that's awesome.
Yeah. And I have to give a huge shout out to Josh. Yes. She's been helping us for the last, X amount of years now. I can't even remember. And she's just amazing. She honestly is.
Yeah, Josh is a huge asset. I was gonna say, pardon my French, but she is a badass, and she has helped me out with so much too. Even we were doing LinkedIn Lives. She hopped on one of those, and I was so impressed. I understood maybe 2/3 of what she said just because she was so technical and so smart about it. I'm like, I need to go back to school, but that's awesome to hear. And again, you've been in touch with so many people on our team, but it's been an efficient process. It hasn't been something that's weighed you down or felt like a chore necessarily. Oh, beautiful. Love it, Daniel.
Not like the first time.
Exactly.
Not like the first time.
You have something to compare it to, though. So that's all right. Well, before we sign off, because I know we're coming up to our time here, I'd love to know what's up for the next year. What do we got to look forward to for your team? I know we were talking about how excited we are about 2024. Are there any milestones we should be on the lookout for?
You know what? There are. This year is a year of growth. We're in the process of working with some pretty big clients, and so those projects are going to start getting rolled out in 2024. Hopefully, you'll start seeing our products on the shelves in really globally, I should say. So.
That is fantastic, Daniel. Well, I'm so excited for what 2024 has in store for everybody over there. And I can't thank you enough for hopping on with me. Thanks again, Daniel.
No, likewise. Thanks, Paul. Thank you.